Okay, welcome to another tutorial. In the previous videos, we covered about PHP, why it's important, the tools to use in PHP, and we went on to talk about outputting your text or your first PHP line of code, the echo and the print. We also made mention of comment, how to comment out your code. And in the line of the course, I mentioned about variables. Now, in this video, I'll be showing you or teaching you what variables are. A variable can be referred to as a container for storing information. Variable declaration always starts with the $sign, followed by the name of the variable. So for you to display any text in PHP as a variable to store information, you must always display it with the $sign. So we have, and variable names can also be anything. It's not compulsory. You can use a variable name of dog to store a value for the price of a building. It doesn't mean the fact that you are using a dog, it must be something related to a dog. So rules for PHP variables. A variable starts with the $sign followed by the name of the variable. A variable name must start with a letter or the underscore character. You can't start a variable name with a number. A variable name can only contain alphanumeric characters and underscore. Variable names are case sensitive. That is to say, age in small letter and age in capital letter are two different variables. Let's show you what that means. Okay, we have the PHP variables now already set up and typed in. So we have it, and we have it txt for hello you develop. We have x for a value of 5 and y for a value of 10.5. And we have echo txt, x and y. Now, if you notice something that is popping up as I put my text editor, as I put my cursor over the text, is displaying a variable at variables, telling you that this is a variable and it's a string of txt. We'll be coming into that. I'll be telling you how to install some extension on your VS Code that can make you function properly and make coding a sweet and fun ride for you. Now, to display it on our browser, we can simply reload and we can see our LOU develop, and we can see our 5 and our 10.5. Let me make it easier for you. I can say, now also notice that I didn't use double quotes like I used for the previous ones. I'm using single quotes for this one. So single quotes and double quotes both works the same way after an echo function. So we write it, the value for txt is. Why do I need to write a full stop before writing a variable name? A variable and a text can be combined together in a format called concatenation. Concatenation is adding two different formats of outputs together. So we have the value for text is, and we are adding a full stop to concatenate it with this text to display it out. And I'm going to copy that. I'm going to duplicate it here. I'm going to copy that. The value for x, the value for y. I'm going to save that, and I'm going to go back to the browser and reload it. So we have the value for txt is LOU develop, the value for x is 5, and the value for y is 10.5. Now, coming to variable scope. What is a scope? A scope of a variable is the part of the script where the variable can be referenced or used. Every variable has a place it can be used. Your name as a variable can only be used when someone is calling you, when they are filling some information about you, or when someone is using it. Those are the spaces or the scope in which your name as a variable can be used. Now for PHP script also, not all variables can be used everywhere on the page. For PHP, there are three different variable scopes. We have the local variable, the global variable, and the static variable. What is the global and the local variable? In PHP, global variables must be declared globally inside a function if they are going to be used in that function. The following example shows us what a global variable looks like. For example, we have a variable x with the value of 5 stored, and we have a function. We'll be coming into functions later on. We have a function, myTest, and we are going to echo p is a paragraph tag in HTML. Variable x inside function is, what is this? Now, myTest and echo variable x outside function. Don't worry about what these functions are. You get to know them later. I'm just trying to explain what a variable is and how the local and global scope of a variable works. So we have a function of myTest. We are going to echo out variable x inside the function, and we are also going to echo the variable x outside the function to see which one is going to work. Okay, so we have it all written now. So we're going to be checking for variable x inside this. We're going to output to check for the variable of x inside the function and the variable of x outside the function to see which one is going to pick. So going back to our browser and reloading, we see we have an error message. The first one said variable x inside the function is, it can't find it, and second one said variable x outside the function is 5. And look at it, we have an undefined variable x in application udevelop index on page 22, on line 22. If we go back to our line 22, we can see that on line 22 is showing that this is an error here. Why is the error there? The error is there because the variable was declared outside the scope of the function. Peradventure, the variable x copied and put inside the function and made it 10. And we come back to our browser and refresh. We can see that the variable inside the function is now 10, while the variable outside the function is 5. So whatever variable you're going to be using, if you want to display it within a function, must be declared in the function. That is called a local variable. A global variable works outside a function and can work anywhere in the script, but a local variable must be declared within a function or a specified environment. Just like we have in this example here, the local variable is declared inside the function and it can be accessed. So if the function is outside, or if the variable is outside the function, it would not function as a local variable and it's going to bounce back an error message. So now the difference between a global scope and a local scope is that one has to be declared within a function, which is a local scope, and a global scope has to be declared outside the function. Okay, we also have the global keyword. The global keyword is used to access a global variable from within a function. To do this, we use the global keyword before the variable inside the function. For instance, we have a variable x of 5 and a y of 10, and we have a function myTest. Declaring a global x and y, we can come and output it anytime y is equals to x plus variable x plus variable y, myTest, and we can echo it out. Now, because the word global has been used within the function, this variable is going to take the action written with this. So what the global keyword does is this. Simply, it brings the variable from a local stage and brings it into the global stage. Let's see it out in the real code. Alright, so we have it here now. So now, like I said, the global brings the value of x and y into the function and allows you to output it outside the function. So let us run it and see what it's going to look like. Reloading it, we have 15. Why do we have 15? Because the result of x plus y, which has now been declared as a global scope and brought into the equation 5 plus 10 equals 15. So we can see that the difference between a global scope and a variable scope is global scope are used everywhere, just like the word global, worldwide. But it can't be used within a function unless it is declared with a global keyword. Also, apart from using the global keyword, we can also add an index to the global. Now, PHP also stores all global variables in an array called global's index. The index holds the name of the variable, and this array is also accessible from within functions and can be used to update global variables directly. Now, another way of writing it, instead of using just the global to declare them, we can specify which global variable we want to use by using the keyword global and adding it with the name of the variable. It also functions the same way. Let me show you what you're talking about. Okay, now we have it all set up here. Let's go ahead and output it and see what it looks like. We can reload it and see that we still have the same 15. So either we use a global keyword, or we use the global symbol, or we declare it as a global scope. They all function the same way. We also have the static keyword. Whenever a function is completed or executed, all of its variables are deleted. However, sometimes we want a local variable not to be deleted. So we need to do a further job. We can use the static keyword when you declare a variable. The static keyword ensures that the value of the variable remains constant throughout the programming or the writing execution of your script. Each time the function is called, that variable will still have the same information it has from the last function because you have the static. So the static is a way of making a variable permanent. Try it out yourself and reach out to me whatever happens. Okay, for the previous courses, we have talked about PHP. We've gone to echo, displaying your PHP out using echo and print. We've talked about commenting. We've also talked about variables and the scopes of a variable. Now, what about some good programming practice? These are things that could save you from a lot of stress later on. The first one is always remember that each line of code must end with a semicolon as long as the code is complete. Example, we have hello world here ending with a semicolon, the string hello power ending with a semicolon. Also, it's very important to make sure all your open tags are closed to enable your program and your script to run effectively. Another thing you need to do is always add comments to your line of code to help you remember and keep track of your work. There are many times I do some software for people, and after a long time, let's say a couple of years, they come back for me to make a modification from it, and at times I can't remember what I did there. I wrote the code, fine. It is my code, fine. But I can't remember how I did it because I have upgraded from that level and I didn't comment my code. So I didn't know what I did in a time. And that is going to take me a lot of time to go back and check, and storm and brainstorm to get what I did. So always ensure you comment your code as you write. It helps you to keep track of your code.